Okay, hi. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Thomas Smithyman. I'm a clinical psychologist. I specialize in treating social anxiety. And yeah, thanks for coming here. This is one of my first videos. I appreciate you watching. I have a website that's kind of getting going now. thomassmithyman.com. So please go there and check out my website, and you can see what videos I have going on and podcasts and all that kind of stuff, a little bit more about me. So for the video today, I wanted to talk about the fact that not all social interactions go well, and this is okay, this is fine. This is like not a big deal. A lot of people I talk to put a ton of pressure on themselves, and they have this belief, this performance standard expectation that's set too high. And one of the principles of treating social anxiety is you look for, are there performance standards that are set too high? If there are, the higher the performance standards, the more likely you are to get anxious. Especially if you are not particularly confident that you can meet those standards. So we're always looking for those. So one of the ones I come across is all interactions must go well. So every time I interact with somebody, it has to go well. And if it does not, then therefore I failed, I screwed up, or therefore I must have bad social skills, or maybe therefore I must be weird, or people must think I'm weird. So, I mean, you can tell that's a very high standard, but a lot of people come in with that. And I'll know because we'll talk about a social interaction and how it went, and if it didn't go great, people put the responsibility on themselves, which causes a ton of anxiety. That didn't cause too much sound. Just touching my mic there. So that puts a ton of pressure on you. If you know that you've got to be great all the time, every interaction has to go well, or else you failed. It's all your responsibility. Man, that's a ton of pressure. So made me think there was a time, like I go to coffee shops a lot to do my work. Like all my non-kind of client work. I try to go to coffee shops because I get easily bored and antsy if I'm trying to work at home. I need all that extra stimulation. But it made me think there was this time where this really popped in for me, because I was sitting at a coffee shop and I saw this young guy go up to like a young woman, and I saw him, basically being nice and friendly. They were sort of both in line, so he was trying to start a conversation with her, and it didn't go well. So it was sort of awkward and abrupt, and it kind of ended. And I could see, like I was watching, right, and I could see on his face that the sort of post-event shame kicked in. Like I could tell from looking at him that he's all of a sudden he's like looking down, and I saw his face, kind of get like look kind of distressed, and I saw him kind of curl up. All these things that, I've seen it enough times, I've been through it enough times to have a reasonable sense of he was blaming himself or thinking bad of himself or basically feeling shame. And what I found myself thinking was, that's not your fault. That interaction was not your fault. You were good. Like I looked at him, like he was being friendly, he was smiling, he was doing the basic friendliness, throwing things out there, trying to start the conversation, and he got very, very little like back in response. Basically, she didn't hold up her side of it. She gave pretty short answers. She like looked down most of the time. She didn't smile or give much friendliness back. That was her. His social skills were good. He did the friendliness. He opened it up. She didn't respond. And, we could speculate why. Like maybe she instantly was rejecting of him and not doing basic human politeness. So basically a really kind of harsh rejection, could be. Because most people are raised with a basic politeness model. So most people will be friendly in response to a certain degree. And she didn't do that. So maybe it was that. Maybe she herself was pretty socially anxious and was caught off guard and had shut down. Really could well have been that. Whatever the reason was, she didn't respond with kind of the basic social skills, that basic kind of politeness and friendliness. So, wasn't his fault. It was hers. And I could tell, he was sort of blaming himself, he was shaming. This is my read from the outside. Probably also, it just brought up memories of all the times that I have been through that and have had these bad interactions and then blamed myself and felt bad about it. So that accounts probably for some of the mind reading I was doing with this guy, but that's what it was making me think of. But what it really highlighted for me was sometimes when it goes badly, it's not your fault. An interaction is 50-50. Like how it goes varies a little bit, but the responsibility is 50% on each side. When people come in for treatment, I'll ask them a lot of times, we'll discuss one of these interactions, and I'll kind of see this happening, and I'll ask, what percentage of the responsibility for a conversation do you think is yours? If it goes well, if it goes badly, how much of that responsibility is on you? And if people are being honest, they're like, 80%. Like, this is pretty common. How that goes is me. It's all on me. I've been there too. I get really excited when a conversation went well. I must be great. Conversation went badly. What's wrong with me? I'm weird. I'm unattractive. Whatever it is. But people feel like, it's my responsibility. It's not. It's 50% the other person. And you cannot control that. You cannot control the other person. This is one of the biggest traps you'll come across, is the belief that you can control someone else's behavior. They are very complicated human beings with a past history of all kinds of experiences, childhood experiences, adolescent experiences. They've been through a whole range of things. They've been raised by different people. They have different emotional reactions themselves. Many of them will have some level of social anxiety. You're not in control of that. All you can control is your 50%. And my mantra is one of them. I have a whole lot. You come across a lot of these. But one of my mantras is friendliness is always appropriate. So whatever the situation you're in, your threat system will tell you not to do stuff because, oh no, what if people think this or think that? But it's always appropriate to be basically friendly. And if you do that, you really can't be faulted. And so if you are being friendly, you're doing your half, you basically end up finding out, what comes back at you. You're not controlling that other 50%. That's them, that's their life. Who knows how complicated their life is? You're getting back information about their half. And sometimes you'll have great conversations because you'll put out your percentage and they'll give back theirs. And it goes well, but it's a two-person operation. The other thing too is, like, again, you don't control people, right? You just find out. And people are wildly different because of all those factors of their own personal genetics, their history, all that kind of stuff. People are different. You're just discovering who they are and what they're like. If you've ever done any kind of like customer service, you'll find there's a range. Like, you can say the same exact thing to a whole different bunch of people, and you'll get a range of responses. Maybe there's an average. Oh, the average median person responds like this, but you get a range. And that's humanity. And it's the same thing's true if you say hi to 10 people. And I do this with my clients all the time. Go out and say hi to 10 people, and just, your threat system will predict this will happen, they'll be rejecting, they'll be disgusted, whatever it is. But if you actually go and talk to 10 people in a row, say the same exact thing, you get a whole range of different responses. And like, what that tells you is, oh, it's not all me. Because if you go talk to one person and say hi and it goes badly, you're like, oh no, I screwed up, something's wrong with me. If you go talk to 2 people, one of them has a bad response, one of them has a good response, who's correct? Are you a loser or are you a cool person? You had a positive response, negative response, who's right? Neither one's right. That's a personal response. You get a whole range. Say hi to 10 people, you get 10 different responses. You will discover some people are friendly, talkative, some are quieter, some start slow and warm up, some people go off in a weird tangent. People are different. There's a range of people. So I think that is it's kind of the topic I want to talk about. I'm aware that I jump around to different ideas. It's part of how my brain works. So this is probably what videos from me will look like a lot of the time, but there are principles in there, and you'll notice the same principles come up in all these different topics. We're not trying to control people. We're trying to be basically friendly. We're lowering their demands on us down to a reasonable level. All these things over time will start to lower your anxiety. And knowing that you're just putting out the friendliness and you're seeing what comes back to you. If it goes well, then that's great. You might connect more with that person. If it goes badly, okay, well, you're probably not going to spend a whole lot more time with them unless, circumstances influence that. I won't get into this now because it's more detailed, but there's actually good sides to it going badly. There's a couple of them. Like for one, I guess there's the benefit of, if it goes badly, your threat system gets to see this is actually what it's like when it goes badly. And you will discover, for the most part, it's fine. When it goes badly, nothing really happens. It's generally basically fine. It's basically not worth being super threatened about. That's an old system. And you can teach it a mediocre interaction or somebody who doesn't want to talk to you or hang out. It's not a big deal. So that's a real benefit. There's a couple others, but I'll probably save that for another video. So yeah, this is one of my first videos. You can go to my website, thomassmithyman.com, so just my name.com, and you'll find me. I'm going to make more of these. And I guess if you have particular questions or like topics you want me to talk about, like I specialize in social anxiety, all different kinds. Social anxiety in general, dating anxiety, social anxiety at work, even shy bladder, performance anxiety. So if there are any particular topics you want to talk about or questions you have, I guess put them in the comments. Okay.